That sounds like just really bad writing.
Yeah. Really.
There it is.
Hey.
All right.
Nice. Wait a minute.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh, yeah. Mind control Ricky. Who picks Lich in
it's
a
actually,
show
guys,
match?
format's changed. All random deathmatch.
Wait, really?
Yes!
Says
Really?
that in the top right corner.
Oh, hell yeah! That's
All
fun.
right, all
Liquid
right.
was saying that on
They
the
wanted
way
to
in.
play it
They
on
said,
the bus,
they
yeah.
said, and I quote, like, why the hell would we play Captain's Draft? Let's go ARDM. I guess that's just it, and our job's done, right? Like, the end, right? Okay,
Yeah,
to
we're
explain
probably,
how this
we're
works,
probably
to
all
explain
getting
how
fired
this works,
after
real
that.
quick, you, each team, I think, have 40, you have like 40 lives, and every time you die, you get a new hero at the end of your lives. So instead of going up in kills, you go
Kyle,
down
you've
in
talked
lives.
enough. You've talked enough. Casters, take this one away, please, please.
Thank God, getting rid of Kyle. That's what needs to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the ARDM match. And with me here, I have somebody that spent a very long time with Team Wings. It is, of course, KBPQ Jack. My man, how you feeling?
Great, good to be with you. First time casting in such a venue and stage, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we did have a hell of a lot of trouble getting this game started. Both teams were like, all right, just go ARDM, and everybody was like, fine, we're doing it. And I'm excited. This one should be really, really cool. We're going to sort of fluctuate a little bit back and forth between talking about what's happening in the game, as the spam of the sounds is going to be all over the place this time, as well as also making sure that we're talking about the history of these teams a little bit. So before we get into the action, I just want to talk to you since you spent a lot of time with Wings. TI6 happens. The entire Dota world comes together. You've got East, West, everywhere in between. Everybody loves Wings. The Wings chants, they ring out everywhere. We're not even going to talk about this kill that's about to happen. And then it felt like we didn't really have closure afterwards. As, man, we are really going to have to wait for a second here. We didn't really have the closure on the story of Wings. So can you tell me a little bit about what happened after TI? What was going on with them?
Well, I mean, I think one thing that made Wings really transcend tribalism, regionalism, whatever you want to call it, is the pure joy of Dota, right? The idea that there's so many heroes in the game, any of them could be played at any time, as we see some kind of action happening mid already, and then so Wings transcended that. They could pick anything, seemingly any game, any different combinations of heroes. And you know what? For that reason, I'm really happy that we're going to be doing ARDM for this match. So I've always wished to see like more competitive, more televised kind of ARDM matches, and this is perfect for that. Like you're talking about the joy of Dota, and this is the mode to show that the best.
Absolutely. You just run into a lobby, run some ARDM action. Kyle talked about it briefly, and then thankfully the production cut him off because nobody wants to hear him talk anymore. But it is 40 lives apiece. So you get into some like sort of weird strategies because you're going to lose a life and then you come back as a new hero. That's the whole way that this ends up working out. And so because of that, you might want to really hang on to one of these heroes if you feel like it's broken. Terrorblade's been all over the place. We'll see if they decide to stick with it, if they can. Granted, it's GH playing it, so a little bit different. But item decisions, too. You want to build items that can work for a lot of different people, or you just build an Ags and hope something good happens.
Yeah, in the past, I've even seen, I mean, way back in the days of earlier ARDM, you'd see people even just go to Roshan and just feed if they got a hero that they didn't like. So, I mean, strategically for this mode, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Aghanims is a pretty general purpose item that now works on more heroes than ever. So you might have a player that does that. Used to see a lot of Midas Travel Lincolns just as generic items that people would build. So, I mean, there's something to be talked about in terms of that distribution. I don't think the teams will be taking it that seriously, but obviously, you know, the lanes will determine, as in Dota now anyway, how things will go early on.
Definitely. So right now, it does look like Liquid a little bit behind as far as the top CS are concerned. Slark keeping it even with the farming Ricky, PA, and Terrorblade. Classic lanes that you always see. A little reflection there. GH under fire. Ice wanting to move into position. And could have thrown out a decay there, but doesn't decide to do it. So talk to me a little bit about this, because Wings known for their innovative strategies. They also had incredibly strong play, regardless of just the crazy drafts that they came out with. Who was sort of the source behind that?
I would say that Ice was actually an underrated source. He was probably the most X-Factor wildcard player on this team. The guy is, you know, Shao8 once said that Ice is unfit to be a professional player. The guy's got a temper, like, you know, he's going to speak his mind no matter what. At the same time, though, this guy would grind a ton of pubs, play a lot of different heroes, and always be a source of new and fresh ideas for this team. So he was in many ways this engine where you kind of couldn't live without him, but you know sometimes it could be real hard to be his teammate.
Mind control, trying to play a little bit of mind games there, telling him he's not bottom lane, and see if he can get some damage. onto Innocence here, Mr. Y.
Yeah, we have to think almost that all random death matches got to favor Wings a little bit, right? So,
Oh, for sure. Doing what they can, popping their stick, turning to fight. GH wanting to see what he can do, but the Frost Shield, first blood, drawn by Ice, and now looking for the catch onto Kuro as well. They're going to lose 2 of them.
yeah, MC trying to take down Shadow. He will manage to take the Slark out of the game.
This does mean that Drow is going to be picked up, and an Alchemist for Kuroki. So, let's see. Any item decisions? I guess boots are fine. The double gauntlets for the Drow Ranger, a classic build for sure. And a Queen of Pain picked up for Shadow.
Yeah, doesn't come straight bottom and try to pick up a couple kills here. GH pretty exposed, but I think the Drow could be one of those heroes that you'd want to hold on to just so you can get 6 and go jungle super quickly and get really fun.
It ain't happening, Jack.
Yep.
That dude's done. So off to a quick start there. GH feeding away a couple deaths. Not what you want to see necessarily. Ooh, follow-up stun. Innocence goes down. They find another. Wings all over them. Finding kill after kill after kill. Kuroki looks like he should be able to get the walk away here, but God, the Undyne is just so freaking strong early. Now it's going for a Midas. All right, that's a classic.
Yeah, speaking of things heroes that would pay off later on, you want the Alchemist certainly to be able to farm, right? Because then whatever hero comes next just ends up being 5 or 6 slotted. So I'm not sure if that's a transition that they'll make here. But their lanes are already under a lot of pressure from Wings.
So we talk a lot about sort of the differences of China versus the rest of the world. Wings, the last Chinese team to win a TI, and also going to be the only TI. We can talk a little bit more about how it broke up afterwards, but what do you think it was that made them so strong? As the stun's going to come out, and actually Shadow trying to find the turnaround kill there. They're chasing down GH on the Shadow Fiend. Oh, why? Innocence on that anti-mage. They already have the zombies chasing after him as well. Ice actually living through all of this. Has to turn onto the Necro mind control. Can he kill him off in time? They come in from Shadow as well. 2 Blink heroes.
Shrine's almost
the
up.
right clicks. Can they kill him off the Shrine? It comes up right at the last second for mind control. But he is eventually going to be killed off as well. They TP in with GH on his 3rd or 4th hero. Matumba Man's a sniper trying to kill Ice. He does finally go down. The pesky Undyne is going to fall, but now Innocence underneath that shrapnel. One more punch from GH. He gets his revenge, and Kuroki almost ends up killing himself.
Stick charges and counterspell on Y, but of course he's not the carry player, so his anti-mage does go down. I mean, it's probably a hero that he wanted to get rid of anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
back to your point. You know, one of the things that really separated Wings, as they said in the video, their dream started here in this city, in Chongqing, and not Shanghai, which is the epicenter of esports in China. And there were some things that probably, like being sheltered away from Shanghai, helped them, because there's a lot of temptation, there's a lot of distractions for players in Shanghai. They hang out a lot, they go to the same places, a lot of things that can kind of throw them off course away from the game, and they kind of got to be isolated from that here in this more remote city to southwest China that kept them away from those bad influences in Shanghai in some ways. And they stayed there. You know, they obviously worked really hard in their game. Some people would say that there wasn't too much else for them to do or take away from that, and it helped make them a stronger team.
The passion, the focus, sticking around on that one particular spot away from the rest of the teams. I mean, normally you'd think sometimes that could hurt, because it means, you know, maybe you're not going to be scrimming in as much, but yeah, staying away from those vices for sure. So a little bit about what's going on in this game. Ice is going to move in onto Matumba Man, but needs to be careful because they are going to find him. The tower finds the finish. The Fiend script on the Matumba Man. And right now, Wings are kind of owning. They've been killing it, man.
Yeah, they managed to move around pretty well. Take that strong start out of lanes and turn that into kills on all 3 lanes. Top 3 CS right now on Wings. And again, you know, they have some pretty favorable matchups right now. I'm not sure if they'll decide at which point what heroes they might want to give up. I'm sure this Bane might be something that they want to trade in a little bit down the road.
Yeah, it's something to keep our eyes on. Are there any like weird item builds coming out yet? As the wraparound coming down bottom, they bring in the Spectre in the early Spectre pick. That's another one that can be really strong if you can hang on to it. Ice on the Abaddon trying to kill off GH. The pause coming from the Bane. Kale apparently. A little bit of back and forth here.
Come on, Blink, you're just hitting creeps anyway, man.
They're going to call the go. Ice will finally be brought down. But yeah, Spectre could be super strong if they could keep that one. Does have the 2 Bracer build also from Matumba Man.
Yeah, Liquid moving with numbers, as we've so often seen. It was interesting this game started in a tri-lane. That is, at some point, what a lot of the Chinese teams tried to do against Wings, because they were so good at these rotations and disguising information and deceptive movements that would catch teams off guard. Always seemed like they had the right numbers at each tower, with the right hero defending each tower. And so teams, at some point, decided to tri-lane them because Wings weren't necessarily that strong as just laners.
That's a good point, yeah. And I mean, you know, harkening back, we have a second TI winner here as well in Team Liquid. We've seen a lot more of them recently. At least when I was looking at these two teams, though, they felt like two that had the strongest potential to repeat. As it does look like they're going to be able to find the kill onto Shadow on the Visage. Kuroki also going to die in the mid lane. So again, just kind of throwing away life after life. They're going to have the Dark Willow brought back in. But yeah, it was a little bit surprising. I was kind of wondering if we were going to see the repeat out of either of these two teams. Liquid obviously looked incredibly strong last year, weren't able to secure. What do you think it was that sort of makes it so tough to finish off and get a second Aegis?
I mean, I think Liquid already were so impressive just keeping the roster together and still having a very strong year, because we see so many TI winners have that drop off. For Wings, I think the situation was, you know, like, it was already very stressful and difficult for everyone to keep working together, but at the same time, you know, you start having success, suddenly there's people in the room or at your events that wouldn't normally be there, suddenly there's distractions, suddenly you're playing other games. They still won a few smaller lands at the start of the season. I believe it was the Cruise Cup and Northern Arena, but clearly like the same drive and hunger wasn't there anymore. Shadow mentioned that this year actually, TI8 on the panel as well. He said basically, you know, at some point we were always willing to be brutally honest with each other. We were always willing to go over everything after games and say the hard things that need to be said to improve. At some point, people just didn't feel like going that extra mile, making that extra effort anymore. And that's when things really started to pull apart.
Yeah, I think the brutally honest is something that's really important too. Like, it's hard to do that, but still have compassion. Highest amount of assists at 9 minutes. I didn't hear this event. Wow. Dude, the Showmatch showing up big. But yeah, it's like Dota is such an emotional game at its core that it feels like, you know, if you don't have that willingness to do it but also show compassion to people, it can fall apart incredibly quickly.
Yeah, it's a very fragile mix. 'Cause at the same time, you need to have faith in each other, but you still need to be able to challenge each other.
No.
It's not always easy to do that. Liquid moving well with numbers right now.
Moving into position, they drop the Supernova. Doom already onto that Dark Willow, so she can't try and interrupt it by throwing out the ulti. The chase for GH, and now a stomp to follow this one if they want to. Seeing if they can keep this Dark Willow alive, but I don't think she's long for this world. Matamba Man's just going to TP out, and he definitely wants to keep that Spectre if he can.
Yeah, speaking of numbers, again, it seemed like Wings back in the day played with that better than just about anyone else. The shot calling on this team, I think for the most part, it was Faith Beyond that was taking the lead in that. And sometimes he'd have a bad game, you know, he'd have a Sand King Clockwork and start off feeding, but he'd still be able to direct the action and make the most out of his hero. No one was afraid to die for each other.
Oh, sick play
Just
there.
Rip there. Yeah, and there's a certain thing to be said for fit, because these guys, these Wings guys, as individual players, they were not in very high demand either before or after their run. And there's just something about the pieces, the communication, the chemistry that just fit together really well.
I know you like basketball. The analogy is like 2005 Detroit Pistons, you know? Back in the day, it's no individual superstar, though at times some of them could make those types of plays, but it was more about the chemistry of it all together.
Yeah.
All right, Matamba Man. Oh! Do-si-do. A little bit of a misplay there, and they get the haunt off. Could have maybe killed Ice Ice as well. It's going to be Faith Beyond that GH takes down in the bottom lane.
Finish the life, the Spectre, no.
Switch away! Oh, he's barely out.
The Lycan going down here for Faith Beyond. And, I mean, tower situation, it looks like the towers are pretty much still up. We are playing this in the spirit of ARDM, which is, hey, just wanting to run at each other and kill each other. So it's good to see that. But yeah, again, you know, kind of like the pure joy of Dota. Like this mode, I've always wished for this to be a kind of all-star game feature mode, just because so many different things can happen. You're not really thinking too much about the matchups or the outcome or whether people are taking it seriously. You're just brawling the whole time.
Totally. Moving up here, Faith Beyond, wanting to get into position with the Shackle Shot, but I don't think it's going to come quick enough. The classic Helm of the Dominator, Vlad's. They do find that Nyx Assassin, RMN dropping the coach. Not where he wants to be. They're seeing if they can kill off Ice Ice. Nightmare. Now the Pango ulti. Rolling Thunder moving forward, seeing if he can find himself Innocence. Why in trouble? Faith Beyond trying to interrupt it. They use the swap out, actually pulling his own teammate in closer. Now the second swap will mean that Innocence dies. Faith Beyond, power shot again. He will have another one in a couple of seconds here. If he can wait it out, might be able to find a pickoff there. The brain sap up on the high ground, and now the Doom, the chase, couldn't quite find that secondary shackle, and Kuro trying to run away, but another power shot from Mr. Faith Beyond finds the kill.
Faith Beyond was definitely one of the more naturally gifted players, I would say, of this group. He was probably in the highest demand at some point after TI in terms of other teams that wanted to be able to play with him or take him away. And just he gets to showcase that here because he's played such a wide pool of heroes. He can play such a wide pool of heroes. They even had some like jungle Bloodseeker strategies that we're working on at some point. So
oh man,
very versatile player.
That sounds amazing. I like that idea a lot. As Ice going to move up on an Earthshaker. Here, I believe we saw a couple of times at TI, and the Echo Slam, one more punch. Matumbo Man goes down.
That's a big kill. That Spectre was getting pretty farmed and starting to snowball a little bit, just all over the map in these fights.
GH onto the Oracle, trying to kill him off. The Rupture's there. This Bane has not died yet this game, and well, Innocent's just trying to walk away. Mitigates that magical damage coming through. A couple more punches. They finally killed him off, and now Ice needs to run away. This Earthshaker, he'd love to keep it, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Enchant Totem, a power shot, misses on everybody. They also miss on the Flame Break, but nonetheless, they will finally kill them off. A 2,000 gold lead, and a smoke up immediately. Coming from the Dire. Team Liquid wanting to make something happen.
Yeah, we've got two Vlads, it looks like, on the Radiant, so a bit overlapping. There's a Travels, though, on Blink, getting that mid item so that he can get around to fights. So take a look at the Dire itemization.
Ooh.
Yeah, everyone's kind of just bracing up on the Dire.
We got
to be able to
Timbersaw bots. He's ready to go. Yeah, all the bracers. I mean, this is just normal Dota at this point, right? Couldn't quite hit the shackle. All heroes go mid. That is the call. And now the roar. They want to find themselves this kill onto RMN if at all possible. And the duel trying to get some extra damage. He's going to keep that one throughout the game now. Just kind of a nice little buff as well. Press the attack. Trying to catch there. Shackle doesn't latch onto two. And the big rolling thunder coming through. Doing so much damage. Liquid with no regard for human life. Kuro. Oh, Matumbo Man, though, he's actually getting kind of low here on this Clinks. But with Kuro throwing out the one more hit, they're going to back out yet again. Shackle does end up latching with the creep. And GH living, trying to walk away. He's barely out of there. Actually, they're going to be able to find skilled Ice maybe. Trying to lifesteal, and the lifesteal is actually working. Press the attack cuts off.
Timely intervention there. These guys are playing every fight down to the wire. This is kind of beautiful execution that we're hoping to see from them. And I was going to say, speaking of versatile players, I mean, Kuro is the guy who's played actually everything in this game, right? So he was showing off there on that Pango for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to ask you, Wings, a lot of them falling off the map. We still know that there's a couple of players that are playing competitive, but what are these guys doing nowadays?
So they kind of split off a little bit after Team Random broke up. At this point, Blink is more or less retired. I think he's still open to opportunities, but he's been mostly streaming. Shadow was looking for the right situation and also turned to stream a little bit. They were talking about that at dinner the other night.
Oh,
nice
hold
sleep
on a
coming
second.
in.
The sleep onto everybody, but what's the follow-up? I don't know if they actually have it. The right clicks coming from Blink is about all they can really do. The shackle afterwards, no! They catch it with the duel, the boat. It's only going to land onto one, and that sleep made all the difference in the world. The press the attack coming from Ice is also doing it, and now the Naga Siren doing a ton of damage to RMN. He goes down.
Yep.
Wings walking triumphantly forward.
Yeah, they didn't have any huge combo spells there, but they killed the Shadow Shaman wards, which kind of cleared the way for them to take the rest of that fight.
And now look at this, they're pushing high ground. This base is going to drop so quickly. This Luna has almost no items at all, but with that bonus Lunar Blessing giving everybody this damage, they're just walking forward for this.
Yeah.
All right, they have a Centaur as well as a Spear Breaker coming into this one. They got to be a little bit careful.
Oh,
The
nice
Shackle hits onto two of them, though. The follow-up with the Hoof Stomp lands onto three. Do they have any extra damage coming into this? Sand King, that's a pretty good respawn. If he can get off a good epicenter, Wings need to be a little bit wary of that. Ice, the one that gets burrow struck first. He has the epicenter following this one,
nice
but
shackle.
interrupted. The shackle lands, and they're going to be able to find that kill also. Liquid lose hero after hero after hero, and Wings, the all-random team, is doing it in ARDM.
Yep, they've taken the mid-racks. They have the dominated cart, of course, was also helped them siege. But yeah, a nice display of teamwork there, as we expected from both teams.
Man, what a freaking game. It's great to see ARDM work in the All-Star match. So we were talking about Blink. He's a streamer now, retired.
Yeah, Shadow took to streaming a little bit too, kind of looking for a good opportunity. There was a time where Shadow tried out for like eHome's second team, which became Keen Gaming actually, like before Wings, and he didn't even make that opportunity, and so he's been a bit overlooked as a player in China, I think. And he took a lot of the blame on this team as well when things didn't go well, as we see Pursuit in the River. So it's been harder for the guys to continue their careers afterwards. Obviously, Y and Faith Beyond formed the new nucleus of the younger generation of eHome, and obviously they took their minor win to a pretty good performance at this major as well. But that's where they are at the moment. Ice Ice continued to play on Sun Gaming with Blink for a bit, and I think he's still trying to play at this moment. See a smoke onto Ice Ice top.
They got him caught.
Isolated.
Yeah, he's dead. That Legion Commander was doing a lot of work there with the press the attack. Matumba Man giving him the tip. Love to see it. They've been able to make these heroes work pretty well. The Luna has finished off the whole pipe and has the bots as well. It's going to come into this lane. So they've gone from the just pretty much max aura items, it feels like.
Yeah, no one going for the super greedy builds. Actually, you can see a kind of a difference in itemization. I would say there's more quote-unquote individual items coming out from Liquid.
Yeah.
You see the armlet, there's blade mail, as we see another fight breaking out here in the jungle. The
Eclipse is already down. Kuro, he gets the armlet toggle in the walk away, able to live through that one. Liquid seeing what they can do. They should have the song to disengage, but Shadow, he can't get it off. And the Shadow Naga Siren is going to die there as they got the focus fire on the bottom side of it, just trying to take down that ward afterwards. And the Shackle again lands. Doesn't look like it's enough. Monkey King jumps in. Ice, Ice, Ice. Wukong's command. He's caught 4 of them in it, but they're going to actually just toss him over to Kuro.
Toss.
What a freaking play coming out from that Tiny. Mr. Matumba Man on the Rock Man. And now GH, he's just too hard to fight this one. They have the Boundless Strike through. The power shot's just tickling him right now, though. And Ice Ice needs to try and jump away. Getting that tree dance broken, and the hoof stomp lands, and they're going to kill him off.
Atu with the clutch tosses there, just turning that fight in favor of Liquid. But yeah, talking about the itemizations, you see that there's a Midas onto Tiny. That'll obviously pay off over time. They finished their pipe as well, but slight difference in itemization here, and I think Radiant, as long as they have a comparable composition, that should help them in the team fight.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on it. I do want to ask, we talked about where all these players are at now. Obviously, they're playing up on the main stage here, and there was some talk about some bad blood between the different members of Wings. Is there any truth to that? Is there some reality to some bad feelings?
There was at the time, because with their contract difficulties, they according to them, they kind of made a pledge to stick together and stay together through that. But ultimately, like some people accepted their own offers and went their own direction. So there definitely was some hurt and some bad blood over that. But last year, they had the award ceremony where Wings finally got their championship rings together, I believe, at DAC. And I think by then, it'd been people going their own direction and bygones being bygones. So this time when they met up, it's a little bit different story. People reminiscing again. You see in the video, just kind of thinking about old times. So it's a good reunion now. All that stuff is buried.
This is some classic Wing builds here, by the way. The Diffusal Blade picked up for the CK. First time we've seen it this patch. That, to me, this would be like the encapsulation of a Wings pick, as they actually went the Diffusal Blade CK.
Or the Pipe Luna, the Pipe Travels Luna, perhaps.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, that's the thing, right, is that I got to see a lot of Wings casting it leading up to TI6, covering a lot of the China region, and there were just so many little individual strategies that stuck out to me at that time, as it does look like Y is going to be initiated on here. The Stampede to follow it up. They want more, as they think they already have that Bristleback killed, and yes, indeedy-doody they do, but now the Diffusal Blade CK. The Eclipse has already come out here as well, but they have the pipe. Well, Jason, there's not really that much damage on the side of Team Wings. Shadow doing what he possibly can, finds the kill there, but now the toss out, pulling him into the fray. He's still very tanky. Only a 1-second stun there on the mind control, and eventually the CK does die. They need a better composition.
Yeah, I mean, this is when that will start to matter. I think Faith Beyond's been doing a lot of work, though, on keeping this win ranger. But yeah, the last few fights, Liquid have run at them, and they've been a bit tankier, I would say, in their composition, and it's won them these last few fights.
So yeah, but the point I was going to make is, like, there's so many different ones. Everybody talks about, like, Pudge techies on the main stage. And that, to me, did feel like a little bit of a meme, even though it was decent at the time. They lost that game. But the other one was, like, these weird little things where they would try and exploit one particular mechanic. So I remember in one time they went, I Alchemist mid, and then a Huskar safe lane, and then the Alchemist went like Brown Boots Ags and immediately gave it to the Huskar, and they're like, we're just going to take full advantage of how strong this hero is, and then they won in like 12 minutes.
Yeah, the Pudge Techies lineup, actually, we talked about it even this time in Chongqing. This was something that they had planned to do. This is something that they were going to use at some point, and they won a game and saw the opportunity for it. But like you mentioned, there are a lot of these little combinations that they looked out for that they would try to exploit, but they were fundamentally a counter-picking team. They were a team that wanted to counter the heroes of the opponent, which can be a very hard style to play because, one, your Dota fundamentals have to be very good in order for you to not just lean towards play style to the point where you can play anything and make it work, and you have to have immaculate teamwork and coordination to make these combos maximize your lineup. So it's very hard to achieve that, being able to be a good counter-picking team, but that's what Wings was.
Well, another movement forward. This is not the best combination from Wings, and Matumba Man breaks the smoke, but they're still under the cover of the Moonlight Shadow. The stun onto all of them. Where's the vision, though? They need some vision, and they are going to be able to find it as they start to lay into that Shadow Demon. The Diffusal Blade not going to help them very much there. They have the slowdown from the TA trap. Get some vision with the clockwork, but the drums are popped. They're trying to see if they can find that Pugna in the river. But why? Very quick, even in the duration there of the TA trap. And X, a pullback. They've caught this Wind Ranger, Faith Beyond needing to run, and the Pugna also going to die. Shackle there onto Kuroki. Another X, another Torrent, the boat coming through, and with all the heroes in the area, Faith Beyond finally has to give up that Wind Ranger.
Yep, fighting into that dire shrine, or spicy hot pot as they would call it. And I mean, I think for the
is that really what they call it?
Yeah, there's a regular hot pot, and then there's a spicy one. But yeah, actually, I mean, for a big part of Wings' run, this was before the shrines came out in the game there. But yeah, a very tanky Liquid lineup. You had the Sven there, Moonlight Shadow just doing so much work, ensuring that initiation to everyone is received. Going here on Rubik in the river.
Oh, nice pickup there. The Diffusal Blade giving the Lion that extra little bit of mana burn damage. The classic Relly.
Yeah, he right clicks pretty hard with the damage talent, the Diffusal Blade. So,
well, let's see what else are we going for here on the Liquid lineup. They've got, oh my God, Kuroki is huge. He's got Armlet Daedalus on the Kunkka. He's actually got a real skill build.
wow.
All right, that's a really bad.
Tiny as well. But Tiny's got the Shadow Blade Crystallis.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pretty good synergy there, I would say.
What else do we have? The Rubik has drums, buckler, the pipe, as well as the Vlads for the Sven. This is a pretty normal build for the Sven,
yeah, Sven
too.
is just Sven. He's got the utility items keeping his team alive.
Yeah, I think you actually might just want to go and die as Lion. I don't know if you even want to stay with this. Like, he's going to go for Ags, but that feels tough.
Yeah, I wish I could see what's left in the pool, but yeah, it might be time. I mean, lives are getting a little low, so they have to be careful. But at this time, their composition, it seems very hard to fight into it.
I guess the other way that you could do it is you could try and play like pick-off Dota and just kill off one person right at the get-go. As the full Crimson Guard is done for this Bounty Hunter. The Bounty Glimmer. Does have eyes on Faith Beyond here, who could be going for a Vlad's, or rather an Ags.
I wonder if he's going to get a +1 second Blade Fury. He does have the Veil of Discord, as well as a Maelstrom, so yeah.
Pretty cool.
He's got it. Jug used to have a, I mean, Blade Fury DPS is still a bit away, but it does do a good amount of damage.
Another Moonlight Shadow. The Ags is done for Mirana. That bonus Starfall damage. And Liquid scout up the high ground. They get themselves the Daedalus done on the Tiny, so these heroes do so much damage. And it looks like Kunkka has a Rapier queued up, so Kuroki sparing no expense.
The Aghanims, as we see, Arman might get caught out here. The Aghanims Mirana is actually perfect. It was in the meta very much at that time.
Man finds Ice, excuse me, only two of them. And now Sven, the Pogs push back, not bad there either. Shadow. Got to be careful as the chase is coming. The amplified damage was there from Y as well. Matumba Man being kind of controlled, but mind control on top of Shadow, and he eventually is going to die. Veil out already to Omni Slash onto Matumba Man, and it looks like the Tiny is finally going to go down there. So a pretty big win, being able to take away the Tiny from the team fight that they've got, and now Liquid just going to try and disengage.
Yeah, we're back to a 3-on-3 here. Liquid have to be careful if they want to fight here. They kind of pass by each other, but yeah, it was pretty big kill onto Matumba Man as well, because his next hero may be very well or very poorly suited for this itemization that he has.
Oh, got the RMN Pudge. That's pretty cool. I can dig it. And a Troll Warlord for Ice Ice. His skill build, not necessarily the greatest for it. It looks like it's going to be an OD for the for Matumba Man. At least that's what's queued up on it. Oh my God. And Faceless Void Shadow. That is a huge one for him. Has Diffusal Blade as well as the Yasha. Shadow with the classic build in the day.
How crazy if they end this game with, with the, we see some Coddle, Venomancer, Nature's Prophet coming out. I've yet to see these heroes.
Oh, there's going to be the hook pull back, but the Exit's not combo together perfectly. And now Shadow looking forward, but they're able to get the crunch on him. They're keeping him controlled, and Shadow finds the Chronosphere, trying to keep their buddies alive, and isn't going to be enough. It's just so freaking tanky on the side of Liquid and Shadow. As soon as it came out, he needs to get the time walk away. Shadow Faceless Void. Crush yet again from Innocence. They're able to get the hook, lands onto Ice Ice, going to throw out those whirling axes, but they're still into the cover of the Moonlight Shadow, and now trying to kill off RMN, but don't really have the damage there. Matumba Man with the Daedalus doesn't have the highest in pool in the world, but he does still have the Sanity's Eclipse.
Yeah, this fight is going on, but I would say if it drags out a little bit, Wings have a pretty good chance here. They want to get Amp onto all of the heroes, of course, threatening Roshan as well.
And Shadow going to have them Manta style. This is one of those late game heroes that can really change our ARDM. I feel like, particularly when it's somebody who's so comfortable on it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna have to fight around their ults as well and wait for that that chrono. But how fitting would that be if everyone's getting their heroes again? We haven't seen some of the Liquid stables from TI7 yet. I think there's a good chance.
Stun there, onto the Sven, but they're just gonna wait for the moment. Ice Ice throws out the axes first. Oh, got him caught. Lots of damage. And that's going to be a dead Juggernaut.
I think you might be okay with that given the Juggernaut's build. We'll see kind of what comes out next.
That's true. It's really not the best, is it? Same thing for Troll. And it looks like they are not, as of yet, going to be able to catch the Troll, who's going to keep on heading north. Tinker is what's coming out for next time around.
I see. He might want to sell some items to ensure that he gets that travels. Actually,
yeah,
that's the case.
GH turned upon. They throw out the X there onto the Troll though, and that's going to stop the push. So real quickly, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but do you want to go at all more in depth into what happened with the breakup?
Yeah. I mean, they basically, long story short, they felt that.
Oh God! All right, we're gonna have to hold that thought for a second because Shadow just dodged away from the Sanity's Eclipse and they kill off Matumba Man. All right, continue on.
This crowd is reliving because at that TI when Shadow was playing Void, the crowd would be chanting for bash, 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 and that's exactly what they managed to relive and do just now in these last few fights.
Crush comes out, but they catch the arrow onto the Pudge, and Wings making a little bit of a comeback here, but the Torrent, the boat, it's going to connect onto two, and Mind Control lane into them. The Psyblade's doing so much, but Ice Ice did go into that Berserker's Rage, and that's keeping him alive here. Unkillable. As RMN trying to see if he can run down Blink, but a couple more punches, and the deny comes out. Still counts towards the death total.
I think you're okay with that. The Troll was not itemized ideally at that point anyway, so maybe something more team fighty. Let's come out for them. But yeah, basically they felt that they were being treated a bit unfairly by the organization, which did not really seem to prioritize Dota, even though they were world champions. They wanted to put their resources into something else. There was also this prize and like backed pay that was owed to them as well. So at some point, they no longer wanted to be part of the organization. But the organization was, of course, part of basically ACE, which is a representative of all the different big clubs in China. And so there was a certain process, a certain set of rules by which that had to be done, or there would be punishments. So long story short, that's basically what led to that trouble and them becoming random. And the fallout that happened afterwards is basically, when the players decided to go their own separate directions and different teams wanted them, did some break the rules? Did some find their own ways to get the players? And so, yeah, that's basically, that's that in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Well, we do have a couple new heroes that have spawned in the meantime. Silencer is there with the Daedalus, and that's Matumba Man playing it. We also have Disruptor with Blink, Crimson Guard, Glimmer Cape, not the best item in the world, but not terrible either. And then, of course, the big one is going to be Lesh, who does have his way towards the Aghanim Scepter. So being able to throw out the extra hits of the Lightning Storm. But the other big thing that's changed is now Kunkka has a Rapier and is queuing up another one. I love this from Kuro. Like, you know what? You're playing ARDM. It's a show match. Go balls to the wall. Make it happen.
Yep, no doubt about that. Faith Beyond did sell. It looks like he sold his helm to get that Travels.
Global. Punch, but the Manta, and then the walk away. Yeah, Faith Beyond getting those Travels. But also the Mjolnir, because why not?
It's a pretty good synergy right now coming out from Wings. They have the Void. They have a lot of damage that kind of goes well with Chronosphere. A bunch of disables that they can chain. So they have the tools certainly to turn this one back, but one swing of Kunkka's sword feels like it can just end them at this point.
Yeah, and the other thing is that change where it's doing less damage is predicated upon having high armor, and
looking for Kuro.
Not all these heroes have incredibly high armor. If they can catch him, this would be a tasty treat, finding themselves the Kunkka, and they got him caught there in the Chronosphere. That's going to be Rapier on the deck for Shadow. Is he going to pick it up? Yes, he has it, and now Liquid need to be very, very wary, although this is a heart. GH on the spin, needs to jump away. The Time Walk now trying to run out of here. There's no Chronosphere. This fight is still a little bit scary for them, but RMN going to be the one that gets chased down. The big crush comes out from Y, and now they're starting to lay into that spin. All of the damage as well as the bashes, and it's making it happen. The bash chant comes from the crowd, and they kill off 4.
19 KD lead down to 1. How many times have we seen this? Wings far behind in a match. Feels like they lost every single team fight, but there's just a chance for them to take one big fight to win the game. Is Liquid going to be able to do anything about this?
And there's no buyback. Still 30 seconds away. Matumba Man, the only one that's left. They have the amp damage. They've got the Deso hits. All those heroes are asleep in the well. While in the meantime, you have Shadow beating away at the tower. They bought a Meteor Hammer from Y, and Matumba Man also will fall.
And can't script this. Can't make this up any better. The Shadow Void.
It's going to happen, and GG is going to be called as Wings are going to take the show match over Team Liquid.
I really, this just makes me wish that we could see a miracle here for this match as well. But honestly, I think this was a great match format. This was a lot of fun. And I hope to see more All-Star and show match type things that feature this mode.
Absolutely. And it looks like, Liquid, they had fun as well. I'm sure GH is like, man, I should have just bought Nags. Should have just bought Midas. But nonetheless, Wings will take this one. A little bit of an appetizer for the main event that came out. So we brought in 2 people that know a lot about appetizers, myself and Mr. KBBQ. Oh, we got a great series that's coming up soon, though, while we watch the 2 TI champions shake hands, have a little bit of fun. How are you feeling about the match to come?
I mean, obviously, the 2 strongest teams in Dota. I think VP has just been so consistent. Secret, I heard that really didn't practice that much coming into this tournament, but obviously they're still very strong. I just hope it goes the full 5 and get a good series.
Absolutely. So the champions will walk off now and head back to the backstage, get ready for the final match as well. Tons of fun. You finally get to see our faces since we had to go the crit cut earlier. But Jack, KBQ, thank you so much for tuning in and helping out on this broadcast.
Casting with you, man.
Yeah, for sure. But we're going to head back down to a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a few for the grand finals right after this.